Okay guys, welcome to this video, character design, the basics. A lot of people asking me for this, a lot of people, so I haven't had any time recently. I've got commission work coming out my ears at the moment, so I'm jumping on this one right now while I've got a spare hour. So first of all, before we get started, got to talk about this because I made a bit of a mistake on this one. So Cute and Cultural's Black Book 3, it's available now. I'll put the link in the description. Now, I didn't realise that everybody would want the deluxe one, but of course it makes sense now. Everybody wants the one that they get their name in the front. I totally get it now. I should have seen this one coming. I only put a limited amount of deluxe ones on the shop, so apologies for those of you who've been disappointed about not being able to get the deluxe. You can now get the deluxe again. I've made an amendment to the shop, so you can get the one where I write your name in for you. I don't know why I didn't see that coming. It seems so obvious to me now, but you know, wise after the event and all that. So if you don't have this book yet, if you haven't got it, then jump on it again. Again, look, I'm really sorry if you've had to buy the standard one and you wanted the deluxe one. That was my bad. Apologies, I won't make the same mistake when Black Book 4 comes out next year. but for now, I'm just making amends by putting the other one up on the website. So just to reiterate, the deluxe one is back on the web shop. So that's that one. Okay, let us crack on with some character design. So what you're going to need for this, you're going to need your pencil, you're going to need your fat eraser. I keep wanting to say rubber, that's what we say in the UK, but I know in America you don't say that because it means something else. Eraser, pencil, whatever pencil you use. I use a mechanical. So this is not for you who have been drawing characters for ages. This is for those of you who've been saying, look, I'm starting out doing characters, what can I do? So it's going to be very, very basic. Because I've done a character video recently. I don't know if you guys have seen it. There is another character which is a slightly more advanced one, but this is going to be dead basic, really, really basic for those of you starting out. Okay, I've said that 3 times now. I'm not going to repeat myself again. So here we go. Where do we start? Well, a good place to start, in fact, for me, the place to start is going to be your face. Now, make sure you keep it nice and light. I'm just going to do a circle like that, right? Now, in the early days, when I used to draw me bees all the time, I still do the bees, by the way, just haven't done them in ages. Hey, that's not a bad circle, is it? I used to use circles all the time. What I'd do, I'd divvy them up. So I'd slice it up like that. Make sure I knew where the centre point was, about there. Stick his eyes in. Little crosses like that. And bingo, I've got a little bee there. Now, I am sort of suggesting that you should keep it as simple as possible early on, because there's a Russian writer called Q2 who I really love his work. I love everything he's ever done, really. And me and him have had the odd backwards and forwards over the years. And he said to me one time, he said, I love the way you make really simple characters expressive. I love the character you put into them. I said, thanks, man, because that's the way I've worked at these. And the way you do it is this. What he's talking about is you can give very simple characters a lot of attitude by simply the way you pose them. Because that's got no expression, right? It's got little crosses for eyes. So they're not exactly the windows to the soul. And it's just a sphere, basically. That's all it is. A little bit of shade on the side. There's not much to denote character, particularly. So where character comes from is how you're going to pose this thing. So what do I mean by this? So his head, you may notice, is sort of tilting that way. Can you see that? The energy's sort of going that way. So I'm going to send his body that way, this way. There you go. Now, that's not even as radical as I could make it. I'd make it more radical than that. Put his little arms on there. Now, where I put his hands is the next. I know hands are a nightmare. I've had this conversation recently with a young guy who's trying to draw characters. Yeah, there's no substitute for practice, I'm afraid. When it comes to hands, you're going to get used to them. But where you put the hands is going to be the next thing. How big you make them. Like, so for instance, am I moving into advanced character stuff here? Maybe I am, actually. Do you know what? I'm going to do it anyway, because it might be useful. If I was to put a big fist just there, like that, a great big fist, oof, like that. See that? Big old fist just there. Sorry if this is rough. I know I said it was going to be very basic. It is. Big old fist there, right? Can you see that? And then this other hand down here, I do it very well. I do it much smaller. So it comes down here like this. Hang on, how am I going to do this? What should I do? I'll give it one of them. Ooh. Sorry, I'm flying through this. There we go. Little thread. See, by the way, this is how rough I sketch sometimes, just so I can get the proportions right. So what that does, it brings this very close to camera. Take this further away from camera. So now it's a much more three-dimensional image. Get rid of them lines from behind. So it gives the illusion that this is coming out at you, whereas this is right back there. So what you've got is you've got differing planes of depth. That is one way of doing it. So these are all very simple lines. Can you see how simple this is? I'm sure you can. It's a simple sphere for the head. This very simple hand, this quite simple hand. I know hands are tricky, but you know, still, they're very simple. It's all very, very simple, and a simple body. And look at that, you have attitude and posing. Now, I'm not saying this is easy, it's not, but it's simple. Simple is not necessarily easy, but it is simple. Let's give you another example. Let's give him a different one. So, same circle, right? Same circle, but let's change it up. Let's give him one of these. So there we go. Now again, you may say, yeah, these are your characters. Well, yeah, they are my characters, but I'm going to show you something else in a second as well, how to make them into your characters. So there's his head. So where's it going this time? Where's the energy going? That way, right? It's going that way. So how about if I send his body that way? There we go. These are really, really simple lines, right? Really simple lines. You can get to grips with these fairly quickly. Again, where's his hands now? Because I've slightly twisted him that direction, his hands have got to be in a slightly different position. What would I do with that, maybe? Maybe sort of, yeah, something like that. Ooh, that's a bit ropey. There you go. Super basic shapes. Can you see that? There we go. Round like that. Maybe give it one of oh, hang on, let's do something different now. Maybe maybe give it one of them, actually. There you go. So, really loose, sketchy kind of. What I'm trying to show you here is with very simple lines how you can make your characters characterful in a very basic way. This is super basic. There's nothing difficult, tricky, detailed. There's no I haven't shaded them. There's nothing on there whatsoever that is difficult or complicated or anything like that. This is all just about posing very simple shapes. Remember I talked about simple shapes? If you haven't seen my video on simple shapes, that kind of stuff, have a look at it. Let's blitz it and let's have another look at some stuff. I mean, really do go back and look at that simple shapes thing, guys, because the thing is, everything you're going to do is composed of simple shapes. And that, by the way, you may be looking at this going, well, I'm not really a character artist. That don't matter. If you're a letter artist, it's exactly the same, because letters essentially are characters. If you're a graffiti writer, because they need dynamic and they need personality, and if they don't have them, we're not interested. All the best artists, look at Totem 2, look at Boogie. These guys, their letters are characters. That's what they are. I don't mean literally, but they've got dynamic, they've got movement, they've got attitude. Just check them out if you don't believe me. Have a look at them. So, now I said, you may be thinking, well, these are your characters, aren't they? Well, let's turn them into potentially your characters. Let's do a character I've never done before. Start with a sphere again. Now, a sphere may not be with the direction you're going in. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Start with the sphere, because the sphere is very easy to make three-dimensional. So there you go. I've made that sphere three-dimensional now. Just by adding them lines, it gives me an idea of this object existing in space and making it sort of, giving it the illusion of 3 dimensions. So where's his eye go? Well, remember we did the crosses? Well, let's put an eye in there. Now, if that's his eye here, we're looking at this plane like that. This is a circular, not circular, what am I talking about? Spherical object. It's a spherical object. So this eye over here is further away from us, and it's on a different part of the sphere. It's a curving away from us. So that's going to be much narrower. We don't get a full view of it. So when I look at it like that, I think, oh, this offers an interesting opportunity. What if I put a little ridge in there and one under there, like he's got a sort of slightly baggy eye, then that goes under there, that goes down there. Okay, interesting. All right. What if I make him a bit dozy? Now you can add attitude to your characters very easy, very easy. Show you what I mean by that. That's cross. That's angry, right? Angry character. That's dozy, sleepy, more passive. See what I mean? You'll see what I mean in a second if you don't. Let's make this one a bit dozy. There you go. So his eyelids are sloping that way. Let's give him a little bit of, there we go. One of them. Now, where do you want him to look? Do you want him to look down here, or do you want him to look at us? If you want him to look at us, then we put his sort of, his pupil on the left-hand side, because he's pointing to the right. Now he's looking at us. If I wanted him to look down there, I'd put the pupil in the right-hand side, and he'd be looking down there. With me so far? I hope so. Okay, now if we kind of go let's keep it nice and simple. Let's give him a big fat pair of, well, let's give him a nice big eyebrow. I'm not even going to put one on that side. My rules, right? And by the way, same thing applies to you. Your rules, right? So, there we go. Did we want him to have a nose and a mouth? Did we? What about if I put his nose up there? Now, I'm not kidding. I would not normally do this. Is it a human nose? Is it just an indicated nose? You notice in manga they do very little to indicate noses a lot of the time. I'm going to do a bit more. What if I do that? I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I'm just jamming. There's his nose. I'm going to do a really simple little mouth there. A line. See how expressive lines can be. These are so simple, these lines. You may say, well, it's not much of a character though. Yeah, but you know, the point is, these are really basic. You can get going on this. Let's put some glasses on him. I'm putting some glasses on him. You can get going on this really, really quickly. You do not need to be an advanced character artist to be doing this kind of thing. You can have a go at this yourself. There we go, some glasses. Should talk you through this glasses. So first of all, same applies to glasses as applies to the eye, which is we can see this plane very, very straight on. This one, there's more concealed away from us, so the glass is much thinner. Big fat thingy on there. Fat arm in his glasses. Want to put an ear on him? Let's put an ear on him. Down there. I'm going to put it right down there. For no reason at all. There you go. And his other tab down there. Again, can't see much of it down there. So I'm going to stick it down there. I'm quite liking this character actually. Now, normally my character's got big cheekbones and stuff. This guy's slightly different. He's not a sort of hard nut. So I'm going to just give him a little tiny chin like that down there. And now, what do we want to do with him now? We want to give him a hat, really, don't we? Some sort of a hat. Now, by the way, I'm looking at this now, looking at this kind of going, all right, what am I going to do with this side of his face? Well, what we want to do, because this side of his face is a bit more defined than this side, because we're looking at straight on, you see? We can see that straight on. So we can't see any ridges or anything like that. This side, we're getting the edge of his face, so we need to see the ridges. So that line I'm going to tuck in there. I'm going to give him a little bit of a brow there. So that eye just sort of bulges out like that. A little bit of a cheekbone there. You'll see that behind his glasses. And then, okay, this is going to kill his eyebrow a little bit, but it might be worth it. What about if I give him a big old, like a Kangol or something? Right. Yeah, I've got the room. Really, you know, don't be shy of the size. Whop out, there you go. Whee. Now this is what I was saying to this young guy the other day, which is proportions ultimately are what's going to make your characters interesting early on. Because particularly in graph, we do a lot of caricature stuff. All the early New York graffiti writers, they knew how to caricature. It was a very big thing in graph. It's always been a very big thing doing graffiti characters. back to this, posing your character. This is what makes or breaks it, right? Because you can make this very, very boring. Or you can do what we were talking about before, add dynamism. Notice the way his head's going. It's going that way, right? There's the energy. It's going that way. So let's send the body that way. I do this a lot with my characters. And either will do, you know, you can send it that way and the body that way. And you can play with it. There you go. If his body goes that way, suddenly, and we can really, let's really exaggerate it. Like those real early graffiti writers used to do, like phase, I'm not thinking phase two, I'm thinking people like Tough Tim in the UK, them guys, you know, used to do these really, really exaggerated characters like this. And you get like the big old, you get like a hand that'll come out like this. Here we go, big old hand over here, hugely caricatured and a lot of fun, very dynamic, you know. So because this is a basic one, I'm going to sort of I'm going to leave that sketch there. Not going to do anything more to it because I just wanted you to see how you build basic character. It's really basic. You can see all the line work I've done there. I've not shaded this character. I know I haven't inked it or anything, but all the line work on it is very simple, really simple. And it's really about dynamic and caricaturing, blow up certain features. You know, I've blown up his eyes. I've shrunk his little mouth down like that. Big hand. Big sort of like ridiculously over exaggerated pose like that. This is the stuff you want to be aiming at to do your characters in a way that makes them sort of exciting and dynamic, energetic, this kind of stuff. And all the things, like all the details about the shape of his head and all that sort of stuff, they can all come later. I started from a very simple circle, made very simple sort of circles for his eyes, bearing in mind the planes of the circle, you know, that this, we can see less there than we can there, all that kind of stuff. So what I suggest is, if you are interested in character design, have a go at that. Have a go at something like that. Give yourself a circle. Just play with it. Play with the features. Give him a big old chin. Give him massive cheekbones. Make the face long. Make it really short. All these are the things you can play with as a character artist. Here's his big old zip. You know, you can play around with this stuff. Experiment with it. This is what we all did. We learned to caricature, learned to blow things up. Big nose, small nose, massive hat, tiny hat, all this kind of thing. So with that, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm not going to do any more on that. And if you've got any questions or suggestions, bung them in the comments. And if you want to see any more, then just ask.